So, yesterday I had a call with all of your previous instructors and the one who conducted JS 201, and I shared the solution, the problem with them. So they all had a common opinion that, it's a JS 101 problem, right? It's not even a 201 problem. So the major challenge that I see is reading and understanding the problem. And the only way to overcome it is practice. So we'll do a lot of practice. Don't worry. Okay? Chalo. How many of you tried to solve the problem again all by yourself? How did you find it now after my explanation? Yeah, any method. 70 out of 70. Very easy. Take. Chalo, let's start to take our class. If you read autobiography of any successful person, any good book you read, they will always say success is 40% skills and 60% mindset. How we approach problems, how we behave in a tense situation, right? So I'll try to fill in those gaps as well as we move ahead. Okay. Nice. Chalo. And all of you got chance to watch the pre-class video? How many of you could not see it for any reason? Okay. Some of you are saying that quality was not good. I think it's an issue with the LMS. Okay. So if I go to the lectures and if I go to the video, right? So what I'm doing these days is I'm also pasting the Loom link. Okay. So I think that there is a lot of buffering.
So we are done with the fundamental objects, and
there is a bit of buffering here, I guess.
Now,
so I am not facing, but if some of you are facing issues with this video, go to the Loom again. Okay. Chalo. I'll do a little bit of revision this time. Chalo. Let me share my screen. Nice. Chalo. Let's learn a very important concept. Okay. Everyone, full attention. Okay. Full attention. Yeah, I'm talking about prototypical inheritance wala pre-class. So if you go here in Masai lectures, here you have this prototypical inheritance. So I'm talking about this particular.
So we are done with the fundamentals of, so we can.
This one.
So we have an account for Vivek.
And I have included Loom video here. Okay. And there are notes here as well. Okay, chalo. Now, I'll have to use whiteboard a little bit today, friends. Chalo. Chalo. Okay. So now, in JavaScript, let's say it is an object. Okay. It's an object. It can have many keys and properties. Okay. Okay. Everyone. Now, there is another object here. It again has several keys and properties. Okay. This until here it's clear to all of us. There are two different objects with some keys and values. Simple so far. Nothing new. I'll put chat box here so I can monitor them well. Now, what is prototypical inheritance? What is prototypical inheritance? Prototypical inheritance is there is a hidden proto property. There is a hidden underscore proto property in every object. And that can be linked to another object. Okay, this is object, this is one object, this is another object. This object has its own key value pair. This object has its own key value pair. Every object, what is property? What is property? Let me go back to here. Say we have an object, Mohammed. Object, okay? So this is an object, okay? So object can have key value things, right? So this can have like name, Vivek, age, 50, whatever, right? So this is an object. Mohammed, you answer me in the chat. For this particular object, for this variable, object variable, what is the type object variable? Type in the chat, Mohammed. Type, quick. We can't wait for the entire day. It's not string, na. What is the type of this value? If you do something like this in console, for example, inspect. If you do type of what would you get? Object, na? This is an object, right? Is value ka type object hai, right? So type of value assigned to this object is an object. Is object mein there are a few key value pairs. It can also be a function. It can also be an array. It can be an array. It can be a function, right? So all of these are called properties. Name is a property, age is a property, hobbies is a property, say is also a property, but its type is a function, so it's usually called a method. So what are the properties of obj? Mohammed, type it out. And what are the methods? What are the properties of obj? Type it out quickly. So the properties of obj are name, age, and hobbies. So these are the properties of object. This is say is a method of object. Okay, let's move ahead. Chalo, let's move ahead. Okay. So we have two objects. Let's keep it a bit quick, huh? Be quick in answering. This is object 1, this is object 2. They have some key value pairs. Okay? All object, each and every object in JavaScript has a hidden property called __ proto. And that can be linked to another object. Okay? So whenever the proto of an object is linked to another object, so we will say that object 2 is the prototype of object 1. Okay? Prototype means you can think of a sancha, something, so there is a sort of, something, flower, something, and you can use that shape to make any objects, right? A mold or something like that. But that is not exactly true. That's why I'm not giving that example. So basically, what happens is this particular object, object 1, gets access to all the properties and methods of object 2. Is it making sense so far? So what is prototypical inheritance in JavaScript? In short, they are objects linked to other objects. Okay, we'll see a lot of examples, don't worry. Basically, by the end of today's class, you will understand this. What is objects linked to other objects? Cool? Let's start. So let's say we have an object called person. I'll keep example very simple so that you can visualize it and we can see it in a diagram. And it has a property called first name. It's exciting, super exciting, friends. Once you get it, super exciting. Okay? It also has a method called sayName. Okay, so what it will say is, will console log this dot first name says hi, whatever. Okay, or I am this dot first name. Okay. Now, if I do something like person dot first name, if I try to access its first name, I'll get Vivek. Okay. If I try to invoke sayName, so person dot sayName, I'll get I am Vivek. Okay. So far good. So far good. Take care. Chalo. Let's move ahead, one step ahead. Step by step, हम आगे बढ़ेंगे. Don't worry, you will get every bit of it. Now, don't worry about this undefined because we are not returning anything from this function. Na? Suppose I return from this function, return hi. And then now if I invoke person dot first name, sayName, it will console log I am Vivek from line number 7 and it will return hi, right? But if we don't return anything, what would it return? We have seen it a couple of times, right? Now let's create another object. So let student equals to an object. So let student is a variable, right? We have defined a variable here. And what is the value that we are assigning to student? What is the type of value that we are assigning to the student? It's an object, right? So this is an object. Now, it has a property called marks. ध्यान से देखना, all of you be careful. Say for example, they got 60 marks. And they have a method called say marks. Okay? And it can log I got this dot marks. Very simple example, nothing new so far. Very simple, right? So this is an object. This is an object. This is an object. So for example, we can say that this is student object with a couple of properties, and this is person object. Okay. Now I want to create this prototype chain, this link. Okay, I need to create this link between them. So what is my end goal? My end goal here is that right now, student, I can access student not marks. I can access student dot say marks. What ability I am looking for is I should be able to access student dot first name, which is undefined as of now, and student dot say name, which again does not exist. Now tell me, our end goal is clear to all of us? What we are trying to do, is it clear to all of us? I need all yes from all of you. Before that, I won't move ahead. 343 of you. Our end goal, हमें क्या करना है? Is that clear to all of you? Nice. Take it. We have to create a prototype chain in between these two so that I can access first name and say name from the student object. We have to link both objects. JavaScript provides us a few low-level ways to do that. So low level and a bit hard. Okay, low level and a bit hard ways to create prototype chains. JavaScript gives us a few. Low level means very close to the metal. I mean, something that frameworks use maybe, right? Something very basic. For example, if you're writing assembly language, that's low level. Okay? And if you're writing, a JavaScript, that's a bit high level. Low level means, okay? Low level means very basic foundation thing. And a few high level ways, those are easy to understand and easy to create prototype chains. Low level are used by framework developers like me. Okay. So when we develop very big frameworks or some tool that will be used by other engineers, then we need low level tools, and high levels are used for most of the engineers. Okay. So we won't go into much depth of low level things. I'll just cover the low level stuff that is asked in interviews and will be useful in the first 2 years of your job. Okay. And the high level ways will be used a lot, if both in interviews and in your job, will spend a lot of time there. Okay. So let me explain you 2 low level ways of creating this prototype chain. The first is object.set prototype of, and another is object.create. So these are the 2 low level ways of creating prototype chain. Object.set prototype of, yaad kar lo, repeat it 3 times. Set prototype of, object.create. These are some of the low-level ways of a bit hard way to create prototype chains. Okay? Now let's use one of them. Object dot set prototype of student to be person. Okay? I want to set prototype of student to be person. So what will this do? Let's see. Everyone's attention is here with me? All of you? So now, if I try to access student dot marks, will I be able to access it? Yes. If I try to access student dot first name, will I be able to access it? Yes. If I try to access student dot say marks, will I be able to invoke this function? Yes. If I try to invoke student dot say name, will I be able to invoke this function? Yes. Wow, isn't it? Now you'll be more surprised when you see how efficiently JavaScript does it. Why is there undefined? Who will explain why is there undefined? Because this say name function is not returning anything. This say name method, this function is not returning anything. So if we explicitly don't return anything, what does the function return? What does JavaScript do for us? It returns undefined. Okay? Chalo. So now, friends, very careful. Be very careful now. Okay? Now, friends, if I inspect student object, so we can see that student has a property called marks, and has a method called say marks. No doubt so far till here. But how is it able to access the properties of person? There is a hidden __ proto which links to the person object. Okay? So what happens here is, if you expand this student object here, the arrow that you see, okay? I'll take all the questions. Abhi, focus here. I'll take all the questions before moving ahead. Right now, focus here. Can you focus what I'm saying? Else you will miss it. And it will never get clear to you, because I don't think you will be getting this clear explanation, anywhere in YouTube. So pay full attention here. I'll take all the questions before moving ahead. Don't worry. Okay? So if you see this, you see a prototype here. So student ka prototype kya hai? Again, it's an object. And that object is this Vivek wala object. So the beauty of, is my voice taking for a lot of you? Is my voice fine? It's clear. Take it. Chalo. So basically, we have created a prototypical chain between student and person using this method object.set prototype of. Okay? Okay, now I'll take up questions. One more thing I'll show you before I take questions. So if I type here student dot __ proto, and I'm checking for equality, is it equal to person? What will be the answer? True, right? Where is student dot __ pointing at? at person. So where is student dot underscore underscore proto pointing at person? Okay. Chalo, now I'll take up questions one by one. Can we get person dot marks? No. Chain is formed from student to person, right? So we can't access. This is one way, right? Proto say you can point to an object. So it's a one-way thing. Person dot marks is undefined. What if we now hold on for a minute. What if we don't write line number 16? So if we don't write line number 16, what will happen? Who will explain? Basically, if we don't write line number 16, we will break this chain. This will be a different object, and this will be a different object. This will be a different object. This will be a different object. There won't be any chain. What is the next question? Wait. Now hold. Let me answer these questions, then I'll move ahead. Okay, do one thing. Write your question in the question answer thing, okay? Maybe there are too many comments here and I'm missing them. So let me see. What will show equal per? Please learn to write nice questions, right? Write question in such a way that at a time it's understandable. Else it will take away our entire class. Okay. What it show like equal person, it means object equal. So objects mein kya hota hai? We looked into the very first video that if we assign or check for equality, they check for the same reference. हमने देखा था first class में. Did we see in the very first class that object is a non-primitive? Okay, so if they are pointing to other objects, that means they are pointing to the exact same thing. So whenever we are doing equality check, we are checking if they are pointing to the same object. So basically, underscore proto is pointing to person, the same place where the person is pointing to. What is difference between proto and underscore proto? Like I said, wait, let me draw this again. Let me draw this again. Again, you know, every browser shows it differently. So don't worry about what browser is showing. Look at what I am saying. Okay? Oh my God, is there an easy way to erase all of this? I'll simply move ahead. Yeah, here. So friends, look carefully, very carefully. We have an object here called student. Student has a property called name and say name. Okay? There is another object, a very independent, simple object called person. Sorry, I did it ulta. So there is a person here, a person object, and there is a student object. Okay? And here we have marks and we have say marks. Okay? Now we want this student to have access to all the properties and method of person. Basically, we want to create a prototype chain between them. Okay? So there is a hidden property called __ proto. What we'll do is we will point it to this thing. How do we create this connection? Using object dot set prototype of. Okay? So we were able to create this connection. So as a programmers, when I communicate with you, as a programmer, when I communicate with you, I'll communicate the hidden, ध्यान से सुनो एकदम, the hidden proto property of student is pointing to person. This is one way of communicating. The proto of student is pointing to person. Another way of communicating it is person is the prototype of student. Is it clear to all of you this thing? These are the two ways to communicate. Simple है ना? Please don't take this much time for every single thing यार. Simple है ना? इसमें क्या clear नहीं है? Tell me. Here the first written object in prototype can access. वही तो बोला मैं ना. Proto से we create a chain और इस method में first वाला takes reference from the second वाला. Yes. ठीक है? We'll take next question. So this first question in the question answer is done. Let's move to the second. Person dot proto equals to student is false. It's not true. हमें देखो ना यार यहाँ पे student का proto is pointing at person ना, ठीक है? So student का person proto is pointing to person. Person का proto is not pointing to student. ठीक है? Next, what if object dot set prototype of send? So ये अपने आप करके try करना ना. Who is stopping you from doing it? अपने आप करके try करना. Say name function again. Please explain say name function again. So what do you want to understand in say name function? One second. Everyone stop typing, please, for a minute. Everyone stop typing for a moment. Where is that question? So Jairaj Singh, what do you want to understand in say name function? Type out in the chat. You got it? ठीक है. Next, Somit Das, sir, what you did in student.proto? No. So what I did was, I am trying to check if this object is actually pointing to this object or not. Let me show you with a different example. So for example, if I have an object 1, okay, and it's like name, can be anything. For example, Somit. Okay, there is another object 2, and it is equal to object 1. What does it mean, friends? If I create a non-primitive equal to another non-primitive, what does it mean? Both are pointing to the exact same thing, right? We saw the heap memory and the stack memory, right? So now if I do object 1 and I'm checking for equality, is it equal to object 2? What will it show? True, right? So if at any point in time, if I want to check that two objects are pointing to the same thing in the heap memory, how do I check it? Triple equals or double equals, right? Somit, is it clear to 100%? 100% clear to you? Okay. Now, Surya Charan, can we set proto to both person and student? You try it out yourself. What if we write try it out yourself after the class? What if we write, try it out yourself? But we are using console statement, then what's the need of return? Nikhil Kumar. This, now I just want Nikhil to answer, okay? I just want Nikhil to answer. Please hold on everyone else. Nikhil, this is a function or a method. This is a function or a method, right? Are we returning anything here? Explicitly, are we returning anything here? No. Is JavaScript returning anything here? Is JavaScript returning anything here? Nikhil Kumar. Chetan, the reason I am taking each and every query is this is the most important part of JavaScript. And I don't want the kind of results we have done yesterday. अभी तक निखिल कुमार का आंसर आया? नहीं आया. निखिल कुमार, can you be a bit quick? What will JavaScript return from here if we have not returned anything? Undefined, right? Let's move ahead. Let's move ahead to next question. Then what is value of prototype if we don't link it by set prototype of? I'll show you that. That's a good question. If I have a key called first name in the student and the same key in the first name, it will be overridden. We'll see an example of it just now. Set prototype basically means we are pushing. No, we are not pushing. We are chaining. That is the difference between classical inheritance and prototypical inheritance. Classical inheritance mein the values are copied or pushed. But in prototypical inheritance, it's very memory efficient. So we don't actually copy anything or push anything. We just make chains. So it's very, very efficient. Okay? Chalo, theek hai. Let's move ahead. Chalo. Okay, friends, let's move ahead. Chalo. Chalo. Okay, so we have an object student, and student points to person. A prototype chain is created between student and person, and in this way, student inherited all the properties from person. Okay, let's move ahead. I create another thing. Let computer science student is an object, and it has subjects. It has, say, favorite subject of JavaScript. Okay. Now, friends, I want to create a chain such that the CS student, computer science student, or Masai student, say, this Masai student has access to everything of student, all the properties of student, and all the properties of person. How do I do that? Right now, it does not have access. How do I create a connection between them? How do I set proto? Object.set prototype of, right? So object.set prototype of Masai student to be equal to, it should actually be small letter just by convention, Masai student to be equal to student. Okay. Now, friends, Masai student, will it have access to favorite subject? Yes. Masai student, will it have access to marks? Yes. Masai student, will it have a name? Will it have a first name? Yes. Okay. So what is happening here? There is a chain from proto of Masai student to student and proto of student to person. Okay. If you check directly, if you log directly Masai student, ध्यान से देखो friends, there can be unlimited chains. There is no limit to that. Okay. It has its own property of just favorite student subject, nothing else. But what is the prototype of Masai student? The prototype is this student object. See, this student object is its prototype. What is the prototype of student object? The prototype is first name and say name. Are you getting what I'm saying? Are you understanding it properly, Ekdam? Chalo, let's move ahead. Very good. So this way we have created a chain. And the last thing is this person, right? So person's prototype is capital O wala object, which is the object constructor functions, JavaScript ka built-in object constructor function. And finally, its prototype is this object. So what happens is, for example, it has access to lots of things, right? Has own property, is prototype of, toString, value of, right? From where are these coming? From the default, object that JavaScript provided it. Okay? Clear? Let's go to second example. Let's go to second example. So we have, say, an array. Let array. Till here, it's clear to all of you, okay? Let's move ahead. Let's move ahead to next example. Yeah. So we have an array 1, 2, 1, 3, 4, 6. Okay. We have an array. So array has access to a couple of properties like array.length, right? We all have used array.length. But it does not have its own property called length, right? So from where does it get length? Let's see. If you expand this, if I log array, okay, and I expand this in the console, what is the prototype of array? Built-in array object. Okay. And from there, it gets all of these properties like concat, constructor, entries, every, fill, find last, including everything, push, pop, slice, all of the things, all of the methods that array has access to. Can I do arr.concat? From where is this concat coming? It's coming from the built-in array object. Okay? Which, so ye array, what is the prototype of array? Built-in array object. Okay? Let's move ahead. Lekin, it also has access to things of an object. For example, array.set has on property. It has something to do with object, right? toString, it is a property of object. How does it have access to all of these? There is another level of prototype chain. So array, this ARR, this variable array, its prototype is array. And array का prototype क्या है? What is the prototype of array? It's an object. तो बाकी जो things we have access to array, where is it coming from? Value of toString is prototype of, where is it coming from? The built-in object. So how are these all linked? So how are all these linked to each other? Do you see prototype here? So if I'll ask, what is the prototype of array, ARR? What will be your answer? What is the prototype of ARR? What is the prototype of ARR? Built-in array object. What is the prototype of built-in array object? The root object or the built-in object. Okay? So this prototype chain can be any level deep. Okay? Clear so far? Shall I move to the next topic? So if you just take 1 minute rest, okay, and try to digest everything before I move to the next topic. Just try to understand whatever I said, try to revise it, try to speak it to yourself before I move on to the next topic. Chain ends at the object, the built-in object. वहां पे आके रुक जाता है क्योंकि built-in object का if you will check prototype, it's nothing. I mean, it will end. So it ends here at the built-in object. यहाँ पे it ends. Chalo, try to digest the information. Yeah. So in JavaScript, everything is object linked to another object. So right now I said you in JavaScript, objects, let's see, it's an object. It has an __ proto property. And using this property, it can be linked to another object. So it can be linked to another object. Okay? Objects can be linked to another objects. But what about functions? What about functions? क्योंकि objects can be linked to other objects. लेकिन functions का क्या हुआ? Ready for a new thing? चलो, super excited? मजा आ रहा है? Nice? Yeah. So say we have a function, friends. Say we have a function. And we have an object, simple object. It's very simple. It's not hard. Okay? It's very simple. Don't be scared. Be excited to learn new things. अगर new things सीखने में excitement हो तब engineering is right for you. नहीं तो accountant बन जाओ. If you want to do the same thing again and again. If you want to be an engineer, you have to be excited about learning new things, right? ठीक है. तो हमने देख लिया already. Objects can be linked to other objects using proto. अब सवाल आता है, what about functions? So friends, again, don't get, again, I'll do a disclaimer. So you will see that the word prototype is very vague. है ना? यहाँ पे proto का meaning है hidden property. जब हम बोलचाल में, when we say prototype, we say that this is the prototype of this object. Now, prototype is again used in a very vague way. I'll show you. So every function, each and every function in JavaScript has a hidden property called prototype. That prototype is nothing but a JavaScript object. That object has underscore underscore proto. And that proto can be linked to another object. There can be another object. That object may have an underscore underscore proto, which can be linked to the function's prototype object. Was the explanation clear enough? I'll show you examples. Repeat, please. Chalo. Hold on. I'll repeat again and then we'll see examples. Because if the bigger mental picture is clear to you, examples will make more sense. If the bigger mental picture is not clear, example will make no sense. So just now we saw that in JavaScript, there is only one way to do inheritance, and that is by linking objects to another object, creating a chain between objects. Okay? Creating a chain between objects. Now the question is, what about functions? Functions में कैसे we inherit from, some other object or some other function. So every function has a property, inbuilt property called prototype. Every function has. Did you understand why I was answering to all the questions about properties? Towards the beginning of class, a few people were asking me about properties and I was answering all of them, right? Many of you told me, sir, why are we answering such easy thing? Do you understand why I answered every question about properties? Yes or no? Because we were going to use this word a lot. If it was not clear to them, they would not have been able to understand this. That's why I was answering all of them. Okay? So every function has a property called prototype. And that prototype's value, what is the type of value of prototype? It's an object. Okay? That object has its own proto underscore proto, using which we can link it to another objects. So again, we have an object inside of a function which can be used to create prototype chains. Okay? 80% clear to all of you? Let's move to an example. Okay? Let function fun is a function. Let obj1 be an object. Object 1 will have a property called name. Okay? And let it be here so far. Okay, let it be here so far. So now if I see function fun, if I see it here, fun, so it's a function. Okay? And if I try to see function fun.prototype, it's basically pointing to somewhere now, right? Some inbuilt constructor for function. So we do have a prototype, a property called prototype inside every function. This much is, very, very clear from this line of code. Okay? Now, let me go to the notes so that you have a very good reference. So yeah, I have created all these diagrams for you so that, you can have fun with it. I just want all of you to be very familiar with the notes so that you can revise them quickly. So we have a function A here, okay? We have an object here. Every function has a prototype. Every function has a prototype. And we can set any value to it. And also, we can use object.setPrototype of to create prototype chain between any object and the function's prototype object. How do you get tricked in an interview? In the interview, what they will do is, if A is a function, it's very simple, friends. It's very simple, believe me. If A is a function, what will they do? They won't write dot prototype. But now you know that I have just explained you several times that chain can be only created between two objects. Here, we have an object, ठीक है, but this should also be an object. So in case of function, it should be a function dot prototype object. ठीक है? चलो, let's see. Let's see this example quickly. Just look at this piece of code and try to digest it, friends. I'll just pause for a minute. Wait, Ankush. Wait for a few minutes. Just understand this example. Tell me one thing, Suryakant. If you have an object, and if you want to stick a new property to the object, how can you do it? Called name. You use object.name, right? And you can put anything here. Right, Suryakant? I told you prototype is an object. How do you stick a new property to it? Dot name or whatever. Okay? So we are basically sticking a new property to this prototype object called name. समझ गए, Suryakant? Yeah. Just look at this entire piece of code and try to make sense of it. How is prototype chain being formed? Got it? How many of you got it and how many of you are confused? Sorry, friends, I have to go a bit slow. I know, So, some of us are slow learners, right? And some of us are fast learners. But this is such an important topic. I don't want any one of you to miss. If it was in my hands, I would have kept class like, 2.5 hours. Then I would have taken a question answer session of maybe, 1 hour for you. But that's not possible for us, right? So I have to take everyone. We have to be inclusive. We have to have empathy for everyone, right? What if you were the weakest student? What if you were taking time to understand and I was just rushing through? Such important concept. You would have appreciated that I would have given you some time. Okay. So let's take a break. I'll keep the window open. Try to make sense of it. Okay. We'll take a quick break. function.setPrototype of कैसे होगा? Object का है ना ये method set prototype of function can access maybe by chain. ठीक है? We'll look into it. ठीक है? Try to understand what has been done here. Sir, how to type that equal to symbol? Don't worry about this. It's about the font. We will see it sometime. Don't worry about this. Okay. Take a break now, and we will go through it again before moving ahead. This method can be used inside objects and constructor functions. I'll show you, and classes. We'll see today. And where can you find today's notes? Where can you find today's notes? I think it's this link is, I'm not sure if it's provided in the, not sure if it's provided to you, but yeah, Soumya, please make sure to include this link to the lecture. Huh? I have given all of you, all of the IES access to all of the lectures. Okay. Assignment I'm already building. Okay, so I did not get time to completely prepare it. It's not accessible. Share. Anyone with the, it's accessible, friends. Check it, double check it. Chalo. Double check it, friends. Before asking me, do your bit of study. Don't just type out anything. Do your bit of research before typing anything. Yeah, let me quickly explain this thing to you and then we'll move ahead. So we have a function called A. So we have a function called A. Sorry. We have a function called A. Okay? The function A has an object called prototype. We know all functions have this object called prototype. The type of it is an object. We are sticking this property called name to it and giving it a value of Akash. So here to this prototype, we are sticking this name property and giving it Akash. We have a different object called object 3. It has one property, age 20. We have a different object, object 3, age 20. And then we are setting a prototype chain between object 3 and a.prototype. So kiska __ property will we be using? Object 3, correct. Because object 3 se we are building the link, na? So proto. What will this proto point to? What will this proto point to? Not function, function ka prototype. To this object, function dot prototype, a.prototype. Okay. So we have set proto of object. We have created a chain between object 3 to a ka prototype, the prototype of a. Clear? And we can verify using these console statements here. Nice. Now let's see some real world things. So I was trying to create this assignment for you, but I could not create it completely. So yeah, I'll create it and give it to you. Chalo. So there are different ways of creating this inheritance. Okay. So first of all, I'll go through it because I've explained almost everything. So let me quickly go through the example of this. So there are 3 major ways of creating objects in bulk, and you have seen this in the pre-class video. One is factory functions. Another is constructor functions, or the new keyword. You have seen this in the pre-class video, right? New keyword. And the third way is ES6 classes. Okay. Now let's go ahead with factory functions and how do we use it. So what was the problem that we saw with factory functions? what was the problem in the pre-class video that we saw with the factory functions? Not lengthy code. The property is repeats. Yeah, Prabhat, correct. So the same property gets repeated every time, right? The same methods, it's copied to every object. So if we have 5,000 object and a 70 lines long method, that 70 long line method will be copied 5,000 times, right? So method gets copied, that is a problem. And here in this solution, we are trying to solve that problem, okay? By creating prototype chains. So what is happening here is we are creating a factory function called user creator. Okay. And we have taken out all of its method that we want to share. For example, the say name is something that maybe we want to share with among all the users, right? So we want to use this user functions to all the user objects that we create. Again, this is from the pre-class video, so I'm not going into much depth here. And we have a factory function. What it does is, what is happening in line number 8, friends? Try to explain like an engineer. What is happening in line number 8? We are declaring a new variable called new user and assigning it value of an empty object. We did not return anything here now. We are just creating a variable called new user and assigning it an empty object. एक empty object बनाया हमने. As simple as that. What is happening in line number 10, friends? Be quick. Nitish, please focus on the task. It does not matter whether it is let, const or var. We saw the difference between them now. So focus on the task now. What is line number 10 doing? What is being chained to what? ये new user object जो हमने बनाया, this new object that we are creating here, we are creating a chain in between this new user and user functions. ठीक है? What are we doing here in line number 11? To this new user object, we are sticking a property called name, right? What will be the value of name? Whatever is passed as an argument to user creator. And what are we finally returning? The new object, okay? So this new object that we are returning here is first of all linked to user functions. We are not copying user functions here, but we are creating a link, right? We are attaching a property called name and we are returning it, okay? So now when we create different objects, friends, so for example, if I look into user 1, we can see that this say name is not copied to the object, right? Instead, it is linked to another object through which we are getting reference to say name. ANAS, Anas. Have you watched the pre-class video? So in the pre-class video, we created objects using factory functions, right? Say yes or no, quick. We don't have like 24 hours, right? So what was the problem there? Why were we not sticking the function directly to the object here? यहाँ पे directly ये say name stick करने का क्या demerit था? What was demerit of new user dot say name is equal to function करने का क्या demerit था? If there are 1,000 objects, 1,000 times it will be copied, right? That's why here the problem that we are trying to solve is we don't want to copy this function to each and every object. Instead, even if we have 10,000 objects, we just have one method. And all the objects will be pointing or chained to the same method. Memory में ये इतना ही जगह लेगा. Even if we have 5,000 objects. Got it now? Yes? No? Optimizing, yeah. Optimizing for the space. Chalo. ठीक है? Is this, so have you solved the problem that was, there was no pre-class video in LMS. Can you please reach out to IAs for that? Let us check right away. So if I check, pre-class was for yesterday, na? I told in the Slack. Na? So if we go to assignments, not assignments, lectures, we do have prototypical inheritance ka pre-video for yesterday. In this, we also have one for Loom, right? So have we solved the problem that we experienced in the pre-class video, that the same function is getting copied 1,000 times, right? And how did we do it? Using prototype chain, okay, by linking. And this is basically prototypical inheritance. Okay? Yeah, we can do shortcut. This is just to make things more and more explicit. Now let us see the second way. So this was the factory function. Okay? What is this approach called? Factory function. The second approach is called constructor functions. The second is called constructor functions, or the use of the new keyword, friends. Okay, let's see. So we have, so this is basically a factory function where we have to create an object and we have to return an object. Okay. Now, what we want to do is, what JavaScript gives us is that if we call any function with the new keyword, okay, if we call, why are we returning new user? Why are we using new user? Who will tell why are we returning here? This function needs to return something, na? Whether implicitly or explicitly. If we don't return new user, what will it return? It will return undefined, right? So that's why we are returning new user. I have to repeat same thing lots of times, which is okay, perhaps. Okay. Okay, now let's learn about constructor. This was factory function. Let's learn about constructor functions. Okay. So let user1, listen carefully, friends, equals to new user creator. And that user would be maybe Vivek. So whenever we use the new keyword, friends, whenever we use the new keyword, okay, JavaScript does a couple of things for us. First of all, it creates an object called this. So we don't have to create an empty object here. JavaScript automatically creates this when we use the new keyword to invoke any function. Is this statement of mine clear? Whenever we use new keyword to invoke any function, right? We are invoking this function with the new keyword. JavaScript creates an empty object for us and uses the keyword this. Okay? And it automatically returns this. It does not return whenever we are invoking a normal function without a new keyword, it returns undefined. But if we are invoking a function with new keyword, what will it return? This object. It will implicitly return this object. So this is often asked in interviews that What is returned if you invoke a function simply, normally, without the new keyword? What is returned if there is no explicit return? Undefined. If you invoke a function using the new keyword, what is returned? This object. Okay. Now, so because we have this object already created by us, created for us, okay, what we can do is, and this is the way you'll be writing your code most of the time. You won't be writing factory functions, but most of the times you'll be writing your code this way. Instead of this creating all of these connections, you will just use this dot name equals to name. So what are we doing here? To this empty object, this, we are creating a property called name and giving it the value of name. Setting property and value. Very good. Next thing here we can do is this dot say name is a function that console logs this dot name. Okay? And now, friends, very interesting part. So basically, under the hood, it is creating factory functions, but it is doing a lot of things for us. So now when I create multiple users like user 1, user 2, okay, and I save them, and if I check user 1, so this particular user, okay, again, it has the name, it has say name, but it's taking the space for the same thing. Okay? So this has the exact same problem that the space is getting copied, but using the new keyword, two things happened for us. One, this keyword was created for us, and this was automatically returned for us. We can very easily do something like user1 dot say name. Okay? And it will say I am Vivek. Okay? These two things happened by Jadu. Jadu se ho gaya ye dono kam. Till here clear? Okay, so which line is responsible for all the magic? See, this function is a simple function, right? Nothing different. So which line does the magic? The new keyword. Always remember this. In your interview, you will be asked, which line does all this magic? New keyword. What does new keyword do? The new keyword creates an empty object and points it to this and points it to an empty object and returns it for us. Okay? And second thing is, again, this is a convention. This is not a rule. You won't get any error if you write your code like this. But usually, whenever we write function that are using this keyword or they are constructor functions, we use capital letter to start them, right? User creator. So all of these are capital letter. Okay? And now we have to call it using the same new name. Just take a moment to digest it. Just take a moment to digest it. Yeah, this is called Pascal case. Just take a moment to digest it. I have sent it in the comment. The constructor function. Okay, this is the constructor function. Everything I have written down for all of you, for quick revisions. No, you don't need to copy. You have these in notes, and I'll also share this code base. I just want you to see it and try to make sense of it. Yes, you can use arrow functions for it. Nothing is stopping you. No, don't use arrow. You can use arrow functions. Try it and let us know later. Okay. Now let's move one step ahead. So another thing that we want to do, friends, again, I want you to be in sync with the notes. I'll just zoom it a little bit. We saw that this is a simple function, right? This is a very simple function. And when we create multiple users, it does two things for us. It creates this keyword and it returns it, right? But at the same time, we saw a problem that user one has this say name, has a copy of say name. User two also has a copy of say name. Now, how can we get rid of this problem? And this is done using prototype. Okay. So we saw that every function has a prototype thing. So whenever we add any method or anything to prototype, it becomes a part of chain and they are not directly copied. I'll show you how. And this thing is also taken care by the new keyword. So what I'll do is, friends, and you can see the example here. So you have this here. So user creator. This is asked a lot in interviews, huh? So pay attention. Dot prototype is equal to we want to add a say hello, say name property to the prototype object. And this is equal to a function. And we can get rid of this line here. So we have moved this function out to user creator ka prototype. And what this does for you is now when you use user one, you can see that this function is not copied, but still user one can say its name. From where does it get access? It gets access via prototype chain. Okay. Do you see what's happening here? So the new keyword did three things for us. Whenever we created an object using the new keyword, it gave us this object. Can you repeat after me? Maybe repeat it in your mind. So whenever we created an object using this keyword or invoked a function using new keyword, one is an empty object called this was created. Okay. You want me to turn on the line wrap? Fine now? I think it's more hard to read now. Okay. I'll make it shorter. Make it larger. Okay. Dekho. Careful, friends. You can repeat after me. Okay. You can repeat after me. Shravan, where did undefined come from? Where did undefined come from in this function? This will be asked to you in your interview, so you should know where did undefined come from. Okay, try to figure it out yourself. Okay. When I called say name, where did undefined come from? Try to figure it out yourself. Chalo, pay attention, friends. So my question is, what three magic, friends, very sincere. Everyone's attention 100% to me. So when I invoke this function user creator, is it getting boring, friends? Is it very boring? No. Pay attention, everyone, huh? Everyone pay attention. So when I am invoking user creator with the new keyword, what three magic is the new keyword doing for me? This will be asked to you in your interview, huh? So please pay attention. The first magic is, friends, it's creating this object, which is an empty object, or it creates an empty object called this for us. It creates an empty object called this for us. Okay? This is implicitly returned for us. We don't have to return anything from this function. We don't have to repeat anything from the user creator function. This is returned for us. Okay. Third thing, whatever functions or methods we add to the prototype of this user creator function or the constructor function, a chain is created in between the new object and the prototype of this function called user creator. Very important. See, user creator is a function. Can prototype chain be directly created with a function? Yes or no? Can prototype chain be directly created with a function? Yes or no? Function के साथ directly नहीं बना सकते. How do we create a prototype chain between user creator and its objects? Using the prototype property of the function, right? So prototype का type क्या है? What is the type of prototype? What is the type of prototype? Object. Can I stick a property called CName to the prototype object? Yes. Can it be a method like this? Yes. Okay. So basically what third thing that the new keyword has done is it has created a prototype chain between the newly created object and the prototype object of the constructor function. The prototype object of the constructor function. Getting it now? I know it's a bit complicated, okay? But I have tried to make it as simple and step by step as possible. Okay? I'll repeat just once again and all of you repeat it in your mind, okay? At least 3 times. Because, you know, this is a very important concept. Whenever I invoke any function with the new keyword, what is that function called? Whenever we invoke a function, any simple function, using the new keyword, what is that function called? Constructor function. Okay. Second thing, what 3 things does new keyword do for us? One is it creates an empty object called this. It implicitly returns this keyword, and whatever properties or methods we stick to the prototype object, whatever properties or methods, a chain is created in between between the object and the prototype object. Okay? A chain is created between these objects, the object that you create and the prototype of the constructor function. Okay? Okay. Just take 5-10 seconds to user one is obviously object now. User one is an object created by user creator. Okay. Sure. Take just a few seconds to digest this information. I'll then add a couple of more things to it. Very good, Kunal. Creates this object, returns this object, creates a chain between this and the prototype of the factory function and the prototype of the factory function. That's why I started with these things, absolute fundamentals. And basically, friends, this is it. This is constructor function. Everything that you want to know, you need to know about constructor function, friends. Everything that you need to know about constructor function. Okay? Just take a few minutes to digest it. I'll just want to introduce you to a very simple, a very beautiful tool. So just digest it, just absorb it, and I'll move to the next thing in 2 minutes. Just take a few minutes. So do you realize why I was going step by step and taking every question, right? Because fundamentals clear ho jate hain na, so everything else is easy. If you understand these things nicely, React will be super easy for you. If you are half stuck here, then React will be super hard for you. It is easy. It's nothing, right? If you understand it properly, एक function का prototype object होता है हर function के अंदर. Every function has a prototype object. And in JavaScript, you can link objects with different objects. Java में it is copied. It is not chain. Chain नहीं बनता उसमें. Things are copied. That's why JavaScript is so efficient. Please explain the three magics once again. Dekho. This is a simple function, right? Nothing other than simple function. Okay. Okay, you want me to log user1.sayname? So user1.sayname. I am Vivek. Okay. Chalo, I'll repeat the three magic that new keyword does for you, and it will be asked to you on your interview, so pay very close attention. And it will be very useful for you as well. So dekho, three magic that new keywords does. So function is the same function, right? It is no different. Every function has a prototype. It also has a prototype. In any function, you can stick any you may stick any number of methods or properties to the prototype object. You can do it here as well. But all the magic that is happening is done by the new keyword. The first magic that new keyword did is it created a this keyword, which is an empty object. It automatically returned. It automatically or implicitly returned the this keyword. Okay. Automatically returned the this keyword. And it created a prototype chain between two objects. One is user1. One is user1, the object, and the prototype object of the function. The object that we created using the new keyword by calling the new creator, and the prototype object of the constructor function. So a chain is created between these two, all the objects and the prototype. Okay? Chalo. Nice. I'm happy that you understood. It's your focus. I mean, I know, I love you all too, but you know, it's your efforts. It's a hard topic, but you are paying so much attention that you are getting it. Okay? And the last way to do inheritance in JavaScript is ES6 classes. Okay. Next is last thing is ES6 classes. Okay. So how does ES6 classes work? It's actually the simplest. So you can create a class called person. It may have any number of methods. We can use constructor to create any number of properties. Okay? And we can create any number of objects, and we can use the extends keyword. Okay? And the prototype chain and everything. So friends, one thing. We will be learning how to create ES6 classes. But under the hood, under my JavaScript will be doing exactly this thing, the constructor function. Okay? Let's see. Let's see. It's very easy, friends. Don't be scared. Okay? So first thing is we use the class keyword. It's a new concept, right? It's a new concept. So we use the class keyword and whatever it may be, like person. Okay? And just like all other programming language, it has a constructor, and it can have any number of methods. I want to use the exact same example so that you can take reference of my example. Okay. And inside of the constructors, we can stick in any property like this dot name, etc. Now, friends, if you compare it with the constructor function that we just learned, right? Function, person, constructor. There we had this keyword. So we would do this dot name is equal to whatever we pass in here, name. Okay. And this, and then we have to create that prototype chain, and we have to use the word prototype. So person constructor dot prototype dot say hello is going to be a function which is going to be console logging this particular thing. So this is the constructor function, friends, that we just learned. This is the constructor function. This is nothing but a constructor function which is sugar-coated. Constructor function that is sugar-coated. It is doing exactly the same thing that is happening here, right? But it gives a slightly different syntax. It's just slightly different syntax. Cool now? So we use the class keyword for all the properties. For all the properties, we put them inside a method called constructor. Okay, so we put all of these things inside a method called constructor. You have to name it constructor only. So while creating a new person, if you want to pass in something, parameters, you do it here in the constructor. So parameters are defined here. Okay. Instead of using this prototype and typing it outside here, class gives you this simple syntax of defining your function directly inside of the class body. Awesome, isn't it? So exact same thing, but much easier code, right? Exact same thing, but much easier code. It's linking in the exact same way, friends. That's the magic. Okay? So let's see. Let's verify it, right? Why to believe me? Isko verify karte hai na? That linking is created in the same way. So now, if I create let person1 is equal to new person. And that person is Amit. Okay. Now, let's see what is there in person1. So P1. So do you see? To the object, this say hello method was not copied. Magic, super magic. Okay? Only these properties which are going to be different anyway inside the constructor, they are copied. Say hello ke liye kya hua? A prototype chain was created with an object. So this object was created to you. This thing was done by JavaScript, and inside of that, you have access to say hello. So a prototype chain was created between this and this, and it was not copied to each and every object. Cool, isn't it? Nice. Okay. Let's move a step ahead. Easy, no? Very easy. Okay, let me repeat for all of you. Yeah. ES6 class is responsible for creating prototype chain, not prototype. Prototype chain. Just a little different syntax. Exactly the same thing is happening. And people who don't understand that exactly the same thing is understanding will never understand JavaScript. They will get an error and they will never know why the error is coming from. But if you know there is a chain, if you go to Stack Overflow, people will be asking, I created a class, but I don't see my method in the console. Okay. So here we actually have a chain to keep it memory efficient. And JavaScript is doing all of this cool stuff for us. Okay. Now let's move it a step ahead. So here, you are getting it, huh? I'll explain again, don't worry. ES6. How many of you don't know what is ES6? How many of you don't know what is ES6? Say, I don't know. See, JavaScript, I think, go through my notes of day one. Okay? Go through my notes of day one. I won't repeat it again. It's just a version which was released in 2015, which included this class keyword as well. Okay? Now, friends, so we have a class called person. Now we have a class called teacher, which extends person. So we have this keyword called extends. Very intuitive, right? Just like normal English. Again, we have constructor. Inside constructor, we can stick in several properties. Okay? We can stick in several properties. Also, we need access to the properties that we need to pass it on to the class that we are extending it, right? So we do that using the super keyword. So two new keywords, one is extends, another is super. I'll show you what super does. And just like this person thing, we have this, we have sticked, we have, we have kept a method called teach inside the teacher function. Now, if I create a teacher object, I'll get rid of this, okay? We know this, right? I'll just get rid of all of this. So everything is in one screen. So I have created a new teacher object using the new keyword and the class teacher. So again, we have new keyword, but instead of a function, we have a class. Okay? It takes in two arguments, name and subject. So we gave it Akash, we gave it a subject. Can teacher teach? Can teacher teach? Teacher. So teacher can teach, right? But how can teacher say hello? Say hello is with person. How can teacher say hello? Because of this extends keyword and the super keyword, right? So now see, friends, see the magic. So I'll just, log teacher one. I'll just log teacher one. Okay. So inside of teacher one directly, its own properties are subject and name. Subject and name. Okay. But if you'll see, it has a prototype of person. And because of this prototype chain, you have access to teach, the teach method, and the name property. Awesome, right? So this is exact same as constructor function, nothing different, but a bit different and developer friendly syntax. And how will you master this? By my explanations? Will you master it if I explain it to you 20 times? What is the way to master it? By lots of practice. But did you understand the concept of constructor function? Nice, you know? So I'll just repeat them once again for all of you. Okay. Then I'll give the stage to Soumya. Okay. He wants to discuss something with you. So friends, we can use this class person to create a person object. So if we think of it as a constructor function, we are sticking it a name property, and a say hello method. This class is responsible for making sure that this say hello is not attached to each and every object, but it's attached to the prototype of the person object that will be created. Okay? So class is responsible for it. Now we are creating a new class called teacher, which is extending person. So we want everything that person has. Basically, we are invoking the person, right? We are creating a new person and attaching a few more properties and methods to it. We need a person object, and then we need to attach a few properties and methods to it. Okay. So we don't need to write this person object again. We can just use the super keyword and pass in the name. This person object just needs a name, right? So by this line of code and this line of code, we have access to name and say hello, right? Now, to this new object, we need to stick another property called subject. So we can do this here inside the constructor. We need to attach or stick a new method called teach. We can do it like this. And we have created a nice inheritance. And we are not copying anything. We are creating lots of chains for writing very, very efficient code. So see what happens is whenever I am creating a teacher is a person, right? Just think of it as a normal English. A teacher is a person, yes or no? Yes. So will the teacher have a name? Can that teacher, should teacher be able to say hello? Right? So what will happen if I create here again, this dot name is equal to, this name, and say hello is a function that console logs this dot name, and it says hello. Why are we not doing this here? This will be much repetition of code, right? So a person will behave differently. Maybe if we change it, person will behave differently and the teacher will behave differently. We want to reuse this entire logic here. We want to be able to use say hello. And in order to use say hello, we need to be able to access this dot name. We need to be able to use say hello. And in order to use say hello, we need to have this dot name. Basically, if it has like 20 different things here, we should be able to access all of them. So we use extends. Okay. For subject, it's great. We have done it here. We have created it here. But what about this dot name? Think of it. Just think of it. Don't jump into conclusion. What about this dot name? Teach is okay. But what about say hello? So super here points to this thing, the class that we are extending. Okay? So you can think of it as we are basically invoking everything from here and passing it a name. Okay? You can think of it that way. Got it? All of you? So we don't need to copy say hello. We don't need to copy this dot name. Super takes care of it. So in this, if I console log here this, okay, console log, this will make, I think, it more clear to you. So this is from teacher constructor. Okay, this is coming from teacher constructor of this. Okay, and now I won't do this super thing. I won't do this super thing. So what is happening? First of all, it will never, let us do that. But if I do call super with name, see, this is basically an object that has a name property and a subject property. And where did subject came from here, right? But where did name come from? It came from here. So basically with super, we are accessing everything inside of the parent class. Yeah, this magic. So one of you are asking that we just passed in name. So how do we get access to say hello? Who would like to answer it? It has access. So what is the prototype of teacher? See here in the console. ये teacher का prototype क्या है? Person. Person में अगर जो भी मेथड जैसे ये है, whatever is in the prototype chain of person, will the teacher have access to it? Right? So this is exact same as the example which we saw ago. Class is just making our life easier by giving us an easy syntax, but easy भी easy तब लगेगा when you practice it a little bit. Okay? And I'll sit down for some time. I'll try to create an assignment which will make things, which will kind of encourage you to practice these things. Okay? यूजुअली सुपर के आर्ग्यूमेंट में वो सब पास करते हैं जो पर्सन के कंस्ट्रक्ट जो पेरेंट के कंस्ट्रक्टर में पास करते हैं. You can think of it as calling this person constructor. Okay. Any number of variables. It can be any number of variables. Age stopping you from doing. Person can have age. Age is equal to age. And here you can take name, age, and subject, क्योंकि अगर person का age होता है तो teacher का भी age होगा, है ना? And here we can have a method called say age. Are you getting what I'm saying? Whoever asked this question, and we can have this dot name, and age is this dot age. Okay, and yeah. You can pass super. यहाँ super में फिर हम क्या क्या पास करेंगे? Name और age. Name और age. क्यों पास करेंगे name और age? क्योंकि parent के constructor में name और age ले रहे हैं. ठीक है? And now, if we run the code, so can teacher one say his age? Teacher one dot say age. And they will be able to say their age. Okay? So it's very flexible, very, very easy, but easy tab banega when you practice it a little bit. Okay? So today we looked into, yes, you can use anyone between them, unless it's specified. For example, in today, one of the problems I'll tell you to use constructor function. There you have to use no keyword. In one of the problems, I'll ask you to use ES6 classes. There you have to use classes. Okay. Chalo, now friends, so we have learned ES6 classes, constructor function, and all the foundations related to it. एकदम बारीकी में हमने सीखा है. I want to tell you one or two things, if you allow me. Okay. So, and it is all about mindset, friends. What I want to say for 2 minutes is all about mindset. So there are two things, friends. One is easy in the short run, painful in the long run. So whatever decision we take, they fall into these two categories. Easy in the short run, painful in the long run. And the second type of decision is painful in the short run, very easy and pleasant in the long run. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Can you give an example of something that is easy in the short run and very painful in the long run? For example, exercising, right? Pain is a bit painful in the short run. Like, if you do it every day, it's very good for your health, right? Tell me one thing, in which category does it fall? Easy toy assignment and evaluation plus underperforming in interviews and job. कौन से कैटेगरी में आता है ये कि मैं आपको अभी इजी असाइनमेंट दूं, I give you very easy evaluation and you underperform in your interviews and job. Easy in the short run, painful in the long run, right? If I ask you, if I insist you to do assignments, all assignments, if I insist you to do all assignments, वो कौन से कैटेगरी में आता है? Painful in the short run, right? You have so much to study. I totally understand, right? इतने सारे classes है. There are so many things to study. On top of that, you have to take out time for assignments. So that's painful in the short run. But will it help you in the long run? Will you get lots of practice? Right? So, friends, if all of you solve your assignments, however painful it is, if you solve your assignments, I had a meeting with, all of the IAs, I had meeting with Soumya, right? We are all here for you. हम दिल जान लगा देंगे आपके लिए, आपको level up करने के लिए. I'll put my 1000 effort to make sure कि in your next 3 tests, you get 100 out of 100. But those who don't do the assignments, still, 20, 30 people don't do the assignment. What should we do with them? What should I do with them? Is it fair that they don't do the assignment or केवल, evaluation के time में वो खुद के? Is it okay? Shall I give them time and energy? There are a few of you who are invisible during assignments and who are most visible during the evaluation. What should I do? So friends, let me be very clear. Okay. People who are doing the painful thing in the short run, who are doing the assignment, who are participating in the class, who are paying attention in the class, entire team is for you, especially me. I am there for you. I want you to succeed, full stop. आपका interview में भी selection हो जाना चाहिए फटाफट. You should be super performing. And same, same Masai school में लोग 5 lakh CPA में भी लगते हैं. People start with 5L CPA and people start with 25 lakh CPA. If Masai has put in so much efforts to hire me, I want all of you to fall in the second category. But for this long-term pleasure, for this long-term fun, you have to bear pain in the short run. Can you? Okay. Chalo. So I'll design my battery is almost 0, but I'll still design your assignments and I'll share with all of you by end of the day today. I want to see 100% of assignments. I want to see 100% of assignments. And people who are not attempting their assignments, they are not my, I'm not going to spend my time or energy on them. Okay? Chalo. Bye-bye. I am leaving for now. I'll give the stage to Soumya. Soumya will be asking you for feedback form and he'll be sharing some of his experience. with you, and notes के लिए also Soumya will help you. चलो चलो हाँ, I'm dropping from the call. Bye bye.
Hello, everyone. I think Sar is present. Okay. Okay, so hello, everyone. So today we'll discuss about some new kind of assignments. Okay. So let me show my screen. So this is a new assignment which will be given to you. Okay. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible, so.
Okay. So a new kind of assignment will give you. So a problem which is appearing now is that students can use to write the code and they can complete the technical round. But in the interviews, they lack communication skills. Okay. So they couldn't able to tell, suppose a question was asked in English. So they couldn't able to explain that properly, right? Means they know what is, if I will ask them in Hindi, then they can speak. But they couldn't able to do in their own native language. Okay. So for that reason, a new kind of assignment is introduced, that is the concept explainer assignment. Okay. So I think we can turn off the recording. Just 1 second.